In this lesson, we're going to continue using the gasket design to discuss geometric construction and editing tools. We'll go over the fillet command, how to convert objects into a polyline, how to use the offset command, how to use the area inquiry tool, and how to use the explode command. Now we're going to create a tangent-tangent radius circle. In the draw toolbar, we're going to go to the circle command and we're going to go down to tangent-tangent radius. I'm going to pick the top horizontal line here, and I'm going to pick the circle that is now an arc. Okay, when it asks me at the bottom, specify the radius of the circle, I'm going to enter 1 and hit enter, and it will create a circle that has a radius of 1 and is tangent to both of those. I will then trim off the pieces that I don't want. Here's a different way to use the trim command. So I can go up here, select trim, and instead of selecting boundary objects, I can just hit enter, which selects all, and then all objects in the drawing become boundary objects. So I can select that, that, and that to trim all that off, right click and hit enter, and I'm out of the command. That is one way to create a fillet between two different drawing objects. However, I can also use the fillet command. Fillet rounds, or fillets, the edges of two arcs, circles, elliptical arc, or lines with an arc of a specified radius. Select the fillet command icon from the Modify panel, so you'll see that it is right here. Select fillet. You'll notice in the command line it says select first object or undo polyline, radius, trim, or multiple. We can also activate those by right-clicking and going to radius. These are the options that are available down on the command line, but available for someone using the mouse more natively. Okay, when it says specify fillet radius, instead of 3, we want to make it 0.75, hit enter, and then now we have a fillet radius of 0.75 for the objects that we select. So what I want you to do is select this left vertical here and this bottom one here, and notice that it gives us a preview of what the fillet is going to do. If we click, we now have 0.75 radius fillet between those two lines. We need to do one more that is 0.25 right here, so I'm going to go ahead and right click, repeat fillet, right click, do radius, select 0.25, hit enter, and then now select these two lines and it will fillet those two lines to 0.25. We're going to use the offset command and create a scaled copy of the constructed geometry. Prior to using the offset command, we'll simplify the procedure by converting all objects into a compound object called a polyline. A polyline in AutoCAD is a 2D line of adjustable width composed of line and arc segments. It's usually treated as a single object with definable options. To do this, we're going to go ahead and go again to the Modify panel, do the drop down, and we want to go to the Edit Polyline icon. Notice in the command line it says select polyline or multiple. We want to go ahead and select any of the objects in the drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one right here. Right click, and it's now polyline. Notice in the command line it says enter an option, close join width, edit vertex, fit spline to curve, line type generation, reverse, or undo. We want to click join, so you can go down here and click join, or you could right click and select join. And it says select objects. We want to select everything in the entire drawing. Right click and hit enter. It says 9 segments added to the polyline. Select enter to get out of it, and if notice now if I select it, it is all one object instead of a bunch of individual arcs and lines. Hit escape to get out of that. Using the offset command creates a new object at a specified distance from an existing object or through a specified point. To initiate the offset command, we're going to go up here to the Modify panel, click this icon, which is offset, and it's going to say specify offset distance. We want to enter 0.5 as our offset distance. Now it asks us to select objects to offset. We can select any segment of the polyline on the screen. Since all the lines and arcs have been converted into a single object, all segments are now selected. AutoCAD next asks us to identify the direction of the offset. Pick a location that is inside the polyline. Notice that it can offset out or offset in. We're going to pick one inside, It has now offset that polyline exactly 0.5 units. We can right click and select enter, and we are now out of that command. We're now going to use the area inquiry tool to measure area and perimeter. AutoCAD provides us several tools that will allow us to measure distance, area, perimeter, and even mass properties. With the use of polylines, measurements of areas and perimeters can be done very quickly. In the Home tab on the ribbon, we're going to go to the Utilities panel, we're going to go to Measure, hit the drop down, and we want to measure area. Once I have that selected, you'll notice in the command line that it says specify first corner point. By default, AutoCAD expects us to select points that will form a polygon. The area and perimeter of the polygon will then be calculated. AutoCAD can also calculate the area and perimeter of objects that define closed regions. For example, a circle or a rectangle can be selected as both of these objects define closed regions. We can also select a region defined by a polyline. To activate this option, right-click once inside the drawing area and select Object. We want to select inside the polyline, and the associated area and perimeter information are shown. We can also select a region defined by multiple polylines. To activate this option, we want to right-click once inside the drawing area and select Add Area. We first want to select the outside object. You'll see that it shows the area and perimeter information of this particular object. Next, we're going to subtract the region defined by the inside polyline. We want to select a subtract area and select an object and select that one, and it will subtract that area from the other area that was already computed. Notice that we now have a total area of 12.33 square units. To get out of this, we hit enter, and we are now out of the command. Using the explode command. The explode command breaks a compound object into its component objects. Select the explode command icon in the modify toolbar. We want to pick the inside polyline that we created using the offset command. Now we need to create another fillet. We're going to go back to the fillet command. We're going to give it a radius of 0.5. So we're going to right click, radius, 0.5, enter. And then we want to select these two lines to give that a radius. We're now going to save the CAD file. This should be done at consistent intervals so that you do not lose work due to some computer or network malfunction. To do this, we're going to go up to the Quick Access toolbar and we can select Save here. We can also do the Application menu and go to Save here, or we can type Save as well. We're actually going to do a Save As, so we get the opportunity to name it however we want and save it wherever we want. So we're going to do Save As a Drawing. And it's going to pop up the Save Drawing As dialog box. And we want to go ahead and save this as Gasket. My personal recommendation is to go ahead and zoom to extends whenever you do a save. And then now that we have already done a Save As, notice at the top it is a gasket, and we can hit Save. That way, and you're looking at thumbnails for all your files, it will actually show you what is in the drawing. Once we've done that, we can exit AutoCAD by going up to the Application menu and closing. It will close that particular drawing. Or we can exit AutoCAD completely by hitting the close.